In this new year, give yourself the permission to take up space. Who did I offend? Can I know my offense, please? Intentionally hiding parts of yourself, parts of your light, which means that the rest of the world cannot benefit from that. And where the world cannot benefit, the world cannot reward. In 2026, we are adopting men's audacity and men's delusional confidence. Weeping may last for the night, but joy comes in the morning. A new season is coming and nothing stays the same forever. The world will reward you when you open up and you're able to share more and more of yourself with it. We owe ourselves the permission to show up as the fullness of who we are in our true, authentic selves. So I'm just here to provoke you to say, hello, beautiful people. Welcome to a new episode of the Dreams, Money, Purpose podcast. My name is Norma and I am your host. Welcome to the first episode of the new year and Happy New Year. I'm so excited for just a fresh season, and I'm excited for both me and you to be on this journey together and for all the beautiful things and the great things that this new year has for us. So for this episode, as it is the beginning of the year, the start of a new season, I'm sure you've already started to write your goals for the year and thinking about your planning for what is to come, what you have in mind to do, to accomplish your goals. And as you do that, something that I wanted to bring in something new, a new perspective, a new questions for you to think about, of course, in this time of reviewing, in this time of reflection, as we think about this new season that we're in and how we're going to take it forward, how we're going to approach this new year in as better versions of ourselves, as improved versions of who we are. So you know me, I love a good idiom, I love a proverb, I love a saying. So for this episode, the proverb that we are going to be thinking about and looking at as our starting point, and some things that I want you to consider as you continue in your planning, is the proverb that says, no one lights a lamp and puts it under a basket, but rather on a lampstand, and it gives light for all who are in the house. In this case, that light in question would be you. I know you've heard people, you've heard celebrities or, an artist, a movie actor be referred to as a star or a light. But in this occasion, I want you to consider yourself as the one who is the light, as the one who is the star. And the reason being is that as we think about how we are made as people, we all have, our different gifts, our talents, our quirks, the things that make you special, the things that set you apart from other people, what makes you unique is what makes the light within you. So your gifts, your talents, your quirks, the things that make you special, the very things that draw the attention of men is what makes you a light. A light is simply one who brings illumination to any environment or whichever situation that they're in. And I want you to consider just a few questions, which we will delve into just a little bit as we go through this episode. One being, in the previous season and right now, is there any way that you've been dimming your light? Is there any ways or any areas where you have completely shut your light off and people are not able to enjoy, they're not able to benefit from the very light that you are? So think about the previous season. Were you hiding your light or were you shining for all to see? It's important that we reflect and think about the ways that we're showing up, whether that's in your professional life or your personal life, in your friendships, in your relationships, and in any other ways, whether that is your business, in your career. How are you showing up as your most authentic self and allowing for other people to benefit from all that you are and putting that on display versus actually drawing back and hiding who you are? So with that being said, I want you to consider, are there any parts of yourself or any areas of your life where you have been hiding, or even interests that you've not given yourself the permission to explore and to fully express yourself in the way that you want to? The reason why this is important is because it will allow you going forward to explore the fullness of that you are, especially when you're self-aware of, okay, in 2025, these are the things that I didn't do well. These are the areas where I was hiding. These are the areas where I was suppressing a part of myself, part of my interest, part of my skills, my talent, and my abilities that didn't have the opportunity to shine, that I didn't have the opportunity to use to their fullest potential and for others to benefit as well. And one of the things that I have come to know and experience is that the more you are able to, one, be self-aware, to self-reflect, but to also look at the areas in which where you're not fully expressing yourself and use those talents again and bring those up to the surface to the benefit of other people. It's such a beautiful thing that happens, is that the world is almost waiting for you to express that part of yourself. There are certain skills and talents that you have that have just not had the opportunity, and you've not used them to the best of your ability, really. When you do use those skills, the world is almost like, oh, we've been waiting for that. We've been waiting for you to show up, for that version of yourself to show up. And what actually happens is that you realize that the world opens up to you, opportunities are suddenly coming to you, and the world will reward you when you open up and are able to share more and more of yourself with it. And for some, this low-key could be self-sabotage, right? And we spoke about this very briefly several episodes ago, but this looks like intentionally hiding parts of yourself, parts of your life, which means that the rest of the world cannot benefit from that. And where the world cannot benefit, the world cannot reward you for that. And what you will find that is actually, you know, the people around you are waiting for you to just shine at your brightest, because the world is looking for that light. They're looking for the specialties that you have and the quirks that you have. So I'm just here to provoke you to say, don't hide from yourself. And for some, the starting point is self-acceptance. I know that for many of us, you know, you grow up not having the permission to explore the fullness of who you are, simply because maybe of the culture that you come from, or maybe certain attributes, certain traits, certain skills are celebrated more than others. However, I think as we grow up, we owe ourselves the permission to show up as the fullness of who we are in our true, authentic selves. Something else that I want you to consider in this new season is your positioning. So for a light to serve its purpose well, it has to be well positioned. For example, if you have a bedside lamp, you know that its purpose and its positioning serves to only give light to a certain radius. Maybe it may just give enough light for you to read, for you to see what's in front of you, maybe to look at your laptop, but it will not give the complete and the same amount of illumination that a light that is placed on the ceiling would, because that light is able to give illumination to the entire room. So in this season, I want you to think about your positioning a little bit more, because sometimes we may feel like we are doing all that we can do, particularly when it comes to our careers. We are putting ourselves out there, we are doing the needful. However, we don't feel like we are being rewarded enough. So think about your positioning. Are you appropriately placed and positioned for your purpose and for the people that you're called to serve? Because, for instance, if you're placing yourself in positions, in areas, in circles, in communities that don't appreciate the fullness of your gifts, your talents, who you are, and what you bring to the table, they will never fully reward you, because they cannot appreciate what it is that you bring. They cannot appreciate your skills. They cannot appreciate your talents, because maybe they just don't have a need for it, or maybe they cannot see what it is that you possess, so they cannot take advantage of it fully, and they cannot appropriately reward you as you deserve. So what this means for you is that you just simply need to reposition, realign, and bring yourself around the circles, the spaces, and the people where your gifts, your talents, and what you bring to the table can greatly be appreciated. You can be greatly rewarded for what it is that you're able to bring in the fullness of it. And then you don't feel like you are being overlooked. If you feel like you're being overlooked, you're being ignored, your talents and your gifts are not being honored, or they're not being appreciated, it may be that you're out of position and you're out of placement where your gifts and your talents could be honored and rewarded. Sometimes you just have to reposition yourself and bring yourself to the place, the spaces where you would be appreciated, would be honored, be valued, and it would be needed. And as it is needed, it will be greatly rewarded. For some, I want you to think about if there's any areas, any parts of you that you're still dimming your lights, you're still hiding yourself. Think about that, what that means to those around you. Because if you think about a physical light, if that light or if a candle is not lit, it's not able to bring illumination to the environment it's in. And what that means is that the people around you are forced to stay in darkness simply because you refuse to shine your light. You refuse to put your light on, to illuminate the spaces and the environment you've been placed in, to be a light in and to be impactful in. And what does this look like? This simply looks like bringing solutions, bringing ideas, using your personality, using your gifts, your talents, your vision, all your ideas, your creative solutions to the places and the spaces that you have been set in or you've been placed in. And this simply looks like making impact where you're able to make a change, where you're able to bring ideas. This looks like not dimming yourself down, but actually allowing yourself to be seen, allowing yourself to be, quote unquote, in the spotlight for the sake of those around you and for the sake of, again, illuminating a dark room. So like I said before, as you continue to review and reflect on the previous year, but also plan for this new season, think about all the gifts and the talents, the ideas that you have, the different interests that you have that you've never fully explored. And start to note them down and think about the ways in which they can be. You can evoke them again, start working on them again. And remember, it's never really just about you, but also about the community in which you exist, which is waiting and eager for you to shine in the best way possible, waiting to hear your thoughts, your ideas, your solutions, waiting for you to bring your creativity forward for them to not only enjoy it, but like I said before, to also reward as well. And if we think about, so I'm going to use this as an example, when we think about the world of media, TV and entertainment, we see that light attracts people. The more you shine, the more you are using your gifts, your talents, your ideas to be a blessing to the world, slowly and surely you see that the world opens up to you, but also that it just attracts people. It may start off with one person, and then it's 2 people, and then it's 10 people that are not only willing to jump on the bandwagon and support what you're doing, to add in to your ideas, your solutions, your creativity, your business, whatever that may be. But suddenly you look around and there's 50 people supporting what you're doing, and then there's 100 people supporting what you're doing, and then it's 1,000 people that are, rooting you on and cheering you on, or purchasing from your products, purchasing the services that you're providing as a service provider or as a business owner. I mean, let's think about this. Those in darkness value the light that others carry because their world or their path has been illuminated by the light that the other person brought in. So whether you're bringing joy, you're bringing ease, you're making somebody laugh, you're creating solutions, you are bringing creative ideas that others are able to benefit from, or bring entertainment, that's your way of illuminating, that's your way of bringing light for somebody else, and somehow in a small way or big way making someone else's life better or easier. So whether it's one person shining in their own way in this corner and another person doing what they've been called to do in this corner, that is the purpose. That is the call, to truly serve each other in the different ways that we are able to, using our gifts, using our talents, using our personality to serve one another. So, like I said at the beginning, I love a good example. I love a good idiom or proverb. But this time, I want you to think about yourself as a flower, or think about a flower in a field of flowers, right? There's all the other flowers are open, they're blossoming, they're blooming in the sun, the sky is blue, whatever, right? But there's the one flower that remains closed up. And as that one flower remains closed, it means that anybody who's passing by is not able to appreciate the beauty of that flower in all its glory, number one. Number two, that flower is not able to give off the fullness of its scent or its perfume, and it's like a sweet smell, right? And then thirdly, that flower is actually, because it doesn't open up its nectar and doesn't allow bees to come in for the process of pollination to happen. And when pollination doesn't happen, of course, that means that bees cannot go forward, to help with the reproduction of flowers. Because that flower has stayed closed the entire time, that means that the fullness of the purpose of which it was created for is never fully explored, because it just remains closed up the entire time. And that's the same with us. If we're not exploring all the purposes for which we've been made, and looking inwards, reviewing, thinking about all these things that we have internally and using the fullness of it, then the fullness of which we were created is never explored. is never used, is never utilized to the benefit of everybody else and for our benefit too. In this new year, give yourself the permission to take up space. In 2026, we are adopting men's audacity and men's delusional confidence. And that means we are going and we are taking everything, okay? I mean, I say that jokingly, but there is a truth to, there's a level of confidence that men operate with, which allows them to be able to receive more opportunities, sometimes even get opportunities that they may not truly deserve, simply because they have the audacity to go for it. They have the confidence to ask, and they have the confidence, sometimes to apply for the job that they may not be qualified for. And I'm thinking about certain presidents. That very confidence and the audacity they have to take up space and move as if the world is theirs allows them to shine at their best and to explore avenues that sometimes I know that women sometimes shy away from. But this is the time to take up space with no limitation, with no boundaries, with no holding back. Go full throttle, go full force, because if not now, then when? Have you ever seen a man of questionable beauty with a gorgeous woman and you're thinking, how did he manage to do that? You know what we call that? Audacity and delusional confidence. That's what we call it. And in this year, that's the energy we're bringing. That's the energy and the vibes that we are bringing to 2026. Confidence and delusion. As the girlies on TikTok said, Delulu is the Solulu. But in all seriousness, I brought that up to say that timidity and shyness dims your light. And truth be told, there's something that can be a little bit off-putting or unattractive about someone who moves with insecurity or low self-esteem. And truth be told, it has an energy. When somebody is dimming themselves down and they're hiding, or you can see when somebody walks in the room and it's like they're trying not to be seen and they just kind of they're like faces down, they're not looking at anybody in the face, or it's a room full of people but there's the one person that's just like withdrawing into themselves. Timidity and that low self-esteem, it has an energy, and sometimes it can repel people. If we're going to be honest, that kind of energy can repel people. Whereas if you look at the other side, you may see somebody in a room who is drawing everybody's attention. Why? Because they have the confidence and they are letting their light shine. They're talking to everybody, and maybe they are telling a few jokes, but they're just allowing themselves to shine their brightest, and that will draw people in. People are attracted to lights. People are attracted to other people who shine, who are confident, who are not afraid to put themselves out there, and who know themselves. People are simply attracted to confidence. But be reminded that the brightness of someone else's light doesn't diminish your light. It doesn't dim your light. And contrary to popular belief, there is room for more than one person to shine. There is room for more than one superstar in any room at any given time. There's room for you and there's room for somebody else. So when you shrink yourself, people feel it. But when you take up space, people feel it too. So this is not the season to shrink back. This is not the season to quiet down. This is not the season to dim your light and watch other people enjoy and do the very things that you desire to do and be rewarded for the very things that you are also able to do. But this is the time to take up space in the spaces and in the environments that you desire to be in. Simply because you also deserve to be in that very room just as much as the next person. Something else that we need to do away with completely in this new season is comparison. With comparison, it's a distraction, and it means that you're so focused on what somebody else is doing and how brightly they're shining that you're not paying attention to what you're doing. You're not fanning your own flame, and you're not allowing yourself to shine in the brightest. And actually what may end up happening is that unconsciously you start to dim your own light simply because you're so focused on how brightly the next person next to you is shining. So comparison is something we need to completely remove from our minds. What I've started to do, which I think I might have mentioned before, is that whenever I see myself comparing myself to somebody, whether I see somebody online or I see someone doing what I would love to do, or receive an opportunity that I would have liked, I think to myself and I remind myself that me and that person are on two different paths. We may have similar skill sets or we may have similar interests, but we have different purposes, we have a different path, and we have different assignments. So it's okay that they get those opportunities because my opportunities will align with what I'm set to do. As you review the previous year and you're planning for this current season, I also want you to be kind to yourself. I think we sometimes can be so hard with ourselves. We don't give ourselves the same grace that we give other people. I mentioned a few episodes back, we were talking about times and seasons, but also reviewing the year with the idea in mind, or thinking about what season am I in and what is my time. There's always such a pressure to have achieved so much within the year. And I think especially with social media where you're seeing other people, post about their achievements, I want to propose a different idea that I honestly feel like sometimes it's okay to have the kind of year where there wasn't measurable results. Sometimes there are years where it's just good enough that you survive the year. And there doesn't have to be a list of 10 million different things that you achieved. Sometimes in the year, there are no measurable or quantifiable results that you can see and measure to say, this is what I achieved. Because I know that for 2025 was such a difficult and a trying year for a lot of people. And I think for some people, it's good enough that you just survived the year. You made it through the year. And that's okay. Because for some, the season looks like a season of just overcoming challenge after challenge, trial after trial. This came up and then there was another issue and then another trying matter, from family to finance to health to career to business. Different challenges coming up, and it felt like you were just in fight mode the entire time, which means that you have no capacity, you have no space to think about progress here and the goals and hitting the targets, because you were just simply in fight mode, you were in survival mode the entire time. And that's the reality of life, that sometimes we are just in survival mode and just trying to keep our head above the water. And it means that as you're trying to keep your head above the water, all you can do is just that, and you don't have the space, you don't have the time, the capacity to focus on hitting the targets and reaching £1 million in your business, or hitting the new targets on the goals that you set for yourself in your career milestones. But actually, if you can look back and say, I overcame so much in the year, then pat on the back for you, because that's good enough. I know for me, there's some years where I just said, you know what? It's good enough that I survived, and I am proud of myself simply for surviving the year. And next year, we go again. And this year, we go again. As you review the year, I know that for some people, the year wasn't necessarily about progressing forward, but for some, it was about pivoting. It may have been about rerouting. And sometimes rerouting looks as if you're going backwards and you're regressing. But actually, rerouting allows you to take a few steps back just so that you can realign to purpose, you can realign and get back to the path you should originally have been. And rerouting means that you actually took the time to review, reflect, and see that actually I'm going towards the wrong direction, or I'm going in a path that I'm not pleased with, that I'm not happy with. And the end destination is not my true desire. Therefore, I'm going to take this time to actually reroute, pivot, whether that was in, relationships, that was in your career, whether that was in business or in any other ways, or in the ways that you were doing things that wasn't necessarily working out or producing the kind of results that you wanted, but simply allowing yourself to pivot. And I know that for some, this new season, 2026, will be the year of pivoting and rerouting. And what that means is that you're going back to the starting line, or just readjusting your path. And that's absolutely okay, because it may not look like you are hitting the milestones and the targets and all of these different achievements. But the achievement for you would simply be rerouting and realigning and repositioning yourself to purpose and to what you should, and to the path that you should be on for yourself, for your life, for your career, and where you desire to be. That's, again, that's the achievement in itself. And it's better that you reroute, you pivot and be delayed than end up on the wrong journey and end up in the wrong destination completely. And speaking about the seasons of life that can be difficult, sometimes it feels as if you're fighting battle after battle. And it's like you're thinking, who did I offend? Like, who did I offend? Can I know my offense, please? But again, I think even in that, you come out of that season or that year stronger emotionally, mentally. You're a little bit more focused and you even know who you are just a little bit better because of those challenges that you overcame. So as you actually continue to review and reflect, I also want you to take note of what did I learn? How did I grow? And what are the lessons that I'm taking forward? And in which ways have I come up wiser, stronger, mentally and emotionally stable and more confident in who I am and in my position in life right now? And if your previous season was a challenging one, was, battle after battle, I want you to be assured that, after the battle comes peace, and typically comes a season of just like silence and rest. There's a saying that says weeping may last for the night, but joy comes in the morning. So don't be weary. I know we can feel like, when am I going to get my break? This is like a never ending battle after battle. But be assured that a new season is coming and nothing stays the same forever. So keep hope in that a new season will come, one that brings peace, one that brings joy, and one that brings rest as well. And for someone else, the previous season was a mixed bag of wins and losses, trials and triumphs. But anywhere where there were losses, even in reviewing that, I do believe you still also owe yourself the grace, because you cannot beat yourself with the rod for something that's already happened. As the saying goes, you can't cry over spilled milk. But it's just more so about, okay, this has happened. I have to take my losses, clean up the mess, and go forward, continue on. And just taking forward with me the lessons I've learned, and just making sure that with these lessons, it just means that the next time I do it better, because I've just learned my lesson from the previous seasons as well. New seasons and new years provide an opportunity for us to grow into a newer version of ourselves. They provide the opportunity for us to explore a better version of who we are. So in this new season, give yourself the opportunity to explore a different version of yourself. One who is freer, one who is bolder, one who is more confident, one who walks in vulnerability but also strength, one who walks in authenticity and the true full version, an authentic version of who you are. Give yourself the permission to rebrand, to start again, to elevate, to transform yourself, to walk and live in an authentic version of yourself. And like I said, give yourself the permission to take up space. It's for you to take. But even when we think about rebranding and walking in a new version of ourselves, new and improved, that has to be a lot of internal work and not just about the aesthetic. It has to be mind, body, soul, in walking in purpose. And as we chase our goals and dreams, it has to start internally before or with the external as well. It has to be both of those things that we're working on at the same time. So for me, one of the emphasis I will be putting on for myself for this new year is just emotional and mental resilience and strength, because I think being fortified in those areas allows us to walk throughout the year having more confidence, and ideally as you work on the internal, just having and establishing peace and joy that is able to carry us through the year. And I think particularly when it comes to mental and emotional stability and resilience, just having that allows you to be more fortified in who you are. And so that when the waves come and the trials and the challenges come, they don't knock you off your feet, but you're able to stand even through the difficulties and the challenges that may arise in any area of your life. Because again, you are mentally fortified, you're emotionally stronger, and are able to manage yourself better. So I was doing some research and I found that for a lot of people, when they're experiencing challenges, what exacerbates those challenges and what makes it feel a bit more difficult and overwhelming than the situation may be is that we don't always have the necessary coping mechanisms. So for us, I think this year will be really important to have and to adopt safe and healthy coping mechanisms for when, the trials and the challenges come. And what does this look like? For me, a few of the coping mechanisms that I found myself using a lot within the last year that I found really useful. And funnily enough, when I was doing research online, I found that for a lot of doctors who work within the mental health space were speaking on these practices. And some of them include, journaling as key to expressing your emotions, your thoughts, talking to people and not holding a lot of your emotions in. And I think when it comes to this, women are a little bit better than men are. So, especially in seasons where you are finding things a little bit more difficult, there's a lot more challenges, just ensuring that you're surrounding yourself with people that you love, people that you're able to express yourself to and will always give an ear to you and listen to you, provide a shoulder to cry on, essentially. Another coping mechanism is what they call grounding techniques, and simply put, this is mindfulness. And what this looks like in practicality is, exercising meditation. So actually taking the time out to practice silence, taking the time out to adopting breathing exercises, which I know sounds so simple, but in as much as it is simple, it's also very groundbreaking in how much it allows your nervous system to actually just calm down, and you're able to, self-regulate a little bit more, particularly in seasons, or even, you could be in the midst of you're about to lose it, or you are, about to have a breakdown. It can just help you to just calm your nerves, calm yourself down, and get you back to where you're able to think clearly, think rationally, and come out of that state of anxiousness and worry or fear. But you're actually able to look at the situation, think rationally about it, look at all your options and how you can proceed forward in a way that is healthy for you. So my challenge for you is think about the healthy coping mechanisms you've used in the past, just ensuring that you're able to adopt them in this year and adopting new coping mechanisms. And I know for some people, one that is, again, so simple but overlooked is exercise, eating healthier, sleeping at a better time. And the best one is less screen time. But I will be speaking, I want to delve a little bit more into that in terms of coping mechanisms and managing mental health a bit more in detail. So I will definitely do another episode on that very soon. So in this new season, I know for all of us, we always hope that it's going to be the best year yet. And I definitely look forward to that. Just maintaining my peace, that is my intention for 2026, is maintaining my peace and maintaining my joy through it all. But I have faith that this year will be incredible, and it will bring good things for both me and you. Yes, I hope that this episode has been a blessing for you. I hope that you will have an incredible year, and that all the things that you have written, your intentions for the year, your goals, that you're able to smash it. I have faith that you will. I just hope that you will be going forth into 2026 shining as the lights that you are, in the brightness and in the fullness of all your glory. Do leave a comment down below letting me know what your intentions are for the new year. I'm nosy, so it could be small, it could be big, whether that's eating healthier, exercising more, or your intention is to earn £1 million or $1 million. Whatever your intentions are for the year, please do share it with me in the comments, and I look forward to reading it. And this is it for this episode. I'm so excited to be back. Don't forget to don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to share this episode with a friend, okay? Share and like, and I will see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.